there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. You're watching Canal Algérie, and I'm your host, Karim Zachary. Coming up next in our news programs, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, carries out a partial cabinet reshuffle in line with the Constitution and after consulting the Premier. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, meets the heads of diplomatic missions accredited to several European and North American countries. And the national football team are to face in Cairo, Egypt, the Djiboutian side as part of the 2022 World Cup qualifiers. Good evening. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, and after consulting the Prime Minister and in line with his constitutional prerogatives, the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, Abdelmajid Tebboune, carried out a partial cabinet reshuffle according to a communique released by the Presidency services. To this effect, he appointed Mohammed Abdel Hafid Hani as Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, replacing Abdel Hamid Hamdani. He also appointed the President here in Algiers, a working session with the heads of diplomatic missions accredited to several countries in Europe and North America. The meeting was devoted to the concretization of the new policy adopted by the state towards the national community abroad and aimed at improving its conditions in host countries and strengthening ties in all their forms with Algeria. President Tebboune gave during this meeting instructions and orientations to upgrade the performance of the diplomatic corps and our representation to be in line with the new conception of Algerian diplomacy. Representing the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the national community abroad, Ramtal Amamra, participated on Friday in Paris in the conference on Libya, organized by joint initiative between Germany, Italy, France and the Libyan government of national unity in partnership with the United Nations. The conference will bring together heads of state and government of countries which took part in the Berlin process, in addition to representatives of relevant international and regional organizations such as the United Nations, the African Union and the Arab League. The decision of Algeria to participate in this event embodies the commitment of the high authorities of our country, headed by the President of the Republic, to continue the efforts to accompany the political roadmap that the Libyan parties have unveiled in order to end the crisis and restore security and stability ahead of the upcoming elections, likely to pave the way for a national reconciliation. Moving on now, the President of the Council today the regional training workshops on the unconstitutionality of law and their application methods for the benefit of lawyers, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme. More information with Manal Ammari.
In a statement to the press, Kamal Finnish highlighted the broadening of the unconstitutionality of the fundamental law initiated by the President of the Republic in 2020 to strengthen the protection of human rights and citizens. He added that the country has witnessed with interest the new achievements attained on the occasion of the recent constitutional amendment initiated by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, and condoned by the Algerian people on November 2020. The bill was crucial in fulfilling the demands expressed by the Algerian people authentic Hirak or popular protest movement, as the amendment that came later on within the democratic renewal formed the basis for the new Algeria. The broadening of the constitutional promoting mechanism enshrined under the 2010 Constitution to include organizational provisions was one of the most prominent amendments included in the 2020 constitutional amendment. The president of the Constitutional Council also affirmed that since the creation of the unconstitutionality exception-oriented mechanisms and the issuance of Organic Law 1816 on September 2nd, specifying the conditions to implement the plea for unconstitutionality, the Constitutional Council has ruled in 5 cases, 3 of which are of the unconstitutionality of the legislative ruling, including a decision related to the constitutionality of a legislative rulings. It is currently in the process of ruling on 25 unconstitutionality-related pleas, 3 legislative provisions, all of which were received from the Supreme Court. Law professionals are called on today more than ever to intervene and participate with regard to regulation or legislation to protect the rights of citizens, who will play a very important role in the future in ensuring easier access to constitutional justice. For his part, the advisor to the President of the Republic in charge of legal and judicial affairs, Bou'alam, noted that since the election of President Tebboune by the Algerian people, he worked to keep his promises towards the Algerian people during his electoral campaign in order to build the new Algeria in response to the people's demands and aspirations, which were expressed peacefully during the authentic Hirak. The constitutional amendment was the cornerstone for building democracy in a new Algeria, with its identity and its constant and authentic national values as foundations and pillars. Bou'alam indicated that the constitutional amendment is a representation of the people's aspirations to true democracy, as it was manifested through wide consultations and restoration of sovereignty to the people who adopted it to reform. The nature of the government system created political and public life, strengthened the check and balance of powers, and enabled the people to choose the representatives in the legislative and local elections through the new election law, especially on the premises of the November 27th local elections.
As part of his ministerial activities, the Interior Minister Canal, now on a visit to Spain, was his counterpart Fernando Grande Marlaska. This two-day visit aimed and strengthen cooperation between the two countries. Behind closed doors, discussions between the two parties were held at the Spanish Interior Ministry. The President of the National Elections Authority, Mohamed Sharfi, received on Thursday the Venezuelan ambassador to Algeria, José de Jesus Sojo Reyes. The two parties discussed the Venezuelan experience in organizing the elections and the importance of exchanging experiences between the two bodies organizing the elections in the two countries. For his part, the Venezuelan ambassador hailed the great role of the National Electoral Authority in the success of the electoral events. No less than 800 loans have been granted to detainees for the financing of micro-projects. It's an operation within the framework of the reforms of penitentiary establishments and the implementation of social reintegration mechanisms of prisoners. The ceremony took place on Thursday morning under the chairmanship of the Justice Minister Abdelrashid Tebbi, accompanied by the Minister of National Solidarity, Kautar Kriko, at the level of the penitentiary establishment of Qli'a in the province of Tipaza. Minister of National Education Abdel Hakim Belabed presented on Wednesday in Paris on the occasion of the General Conference of the UNESCO Algeria's experience in terms of access to education during the past 2 years marked by the COVID-19 pandemic. Abdel Hakim Belabed, who also chairs the Algerian National Commission for Education and Cultural Sciences, put forward his keynote speech during the general debate session of the 41st session of the General Conference of the UNESCO. Insights and lessons learned by Algeria from the fallouts of this pandemic on the education sector and how it coped to overcome them, like so many other countries throughout the world.
Algeria witnessed over the past 2 years several major national events which helped further strengthen its democracy, to begin with the election of Abdelmajid Tebboune as its president on December the 12th, 2019, who most deservingly earned the trust of the Algerian people by best serving the country's interests. Now, it is our right as Algerians to move forward in building new foundations and pillars of the new Algeria. In such context, President Tebboune proceeded to instruct that a series of brave and crucial reforms be implemented which would consolidate the concretization of the new Algeria under the rule of law, social justice and freedom of speech, while further promoting a peace culture supportive of just causes all over the world. Algeria has put forward during this pandemic the need to maintain schooling programs implementation at all educational levels by promoting physical attendance and e-learning, and in provision of the new 2020-2021 school year and following instructions of the President of the Republic, a new national strategy was prepared to roll out a COVID-19 vaccination campaign with a priority given to all education sector personnel, which was made practical once the pharmaceutical group started to manufacture the first batches of the CoronaVac vaccine. I would also like to seize this opportunity to thank all the Algerian education sector personnel, especially the teachers.
The 10th edition of the International Energy and Hydrocarbons Exhibition held at the Convention Center in the province of Oran has finally came to an end. For the past 4 days, professionals from the energy industry and hydrocarbons seized the opportunity to further review current projections of investments and partnerships. More details with Melissa Bash.
In the oil and gas industry, safety remains a strong investment in the production chain in order to ensure the sustainability of the company.
We specialize in the distribution of safety and preventive maintenance equipment. We provide ultrasound equipment so that no harm could reach the personnel when operating machinery. We provide firefighting and hydromechanical equipment for companies operating in the petroleum sector, such as Sonatrach. We aim to provide both protection and security in the industrial and petroleum sectors.
The environmental sector, for his part, witnessed the presence of several companies projecting in sustainable development.
We are specialized in the field of environment and industrial maintenance. We treat oil spills with the help of a very sophisticated machine that can eliminate all hydrocarbons in case of an ecological incident. Our goal is to preserve the safety of the environment in accordance with regulatory requirements.
The professionals from the world of energy and hydrocarbons did not only exchange expertise and know-how, but also found the best solutions to major challenges facing the oil and gas industry.
Sahrawi refugee camps are witnessing numerous protest marches in solidarity with the Sahrawi activist Sultana Khaya, victim of further Moroccan aggressions. On November 8th, a group of Moroccan parliamentaries attacked the Khaya's family's house in occupied Boujdour and injected Sultana Khaya with an unknown substance and damaged her house. The attack aroused a wave of Sahrawi and international indignation. To sports now. The Algerian national football team are to face today the Djiboutian side in the Egyptian capital Cairo as part of the 2022 World Qualifiers. Victory is a must for the Duer Warriors to keep their full chances before receiving Burkina Faso in Blida Stadium. More details with our sports reporter Salim Mirouh.
Eyes are riveted on Cairo, where the Desert Foxes are to face Djibouti before the last game of this round versus the Burkinabe side for a praiseworthy berth for the next round of the competition. The African champions' mission seemed to be easy due to the lackluster performance of their opponent, so far below expectations. Having picked up 10 points from the 4 opening matches, the Greens lead the way in Group A ahead of Burkina Faso only on goal difference. With their destiny in their own hands, the Algerians are determined now more than ever before to snatch another victory to keep their full chances before receiving Burkina Faso on November the 16th in Blida Stadium.
Well, that's it for me and the rest of the team. Thanks for watching. Good night.